clear that a 15-day extension is probably not going to impact either the timelines or the consulting fees. You go beyond that, you're in unknown territory. And this document's been out a long time. It's a multi-million-dollar document, and as I said, I was prepared to come to here because the question of extending the deadline, the timeline, has been out there for the last couple of weeks. And so I really feel that I'm I was the one that really pushed to put all this process, other board members too, but to put this process on a timeline, because frankly, this process languished for about 6 years and nothing went forward. And so, I would be very hypocritical if I say, basically to say, okay, let's get it on time frame now that we've done that, now okay, let's start the extension process. So I feel I'm kind of giving up my position and being a half-hearted hypocrite by even going for a 15-day extension. But I'll do that because I think there's legitimate concerns. But frankly, if there's an issue or a document, and with being on having the disk included in the document and everything, if there's a section or something that somebody needs to read and get up to speed, another 2 weeks, that takes you past the time of your relative having a baby or being sick for a week with the flu or something. So I think a two-week time extension is fair and reasonable. Beyond that, I think it's just, I don't know, and it could end up costing the county more money and you more money.
Thank you, Supervisor. You had previously identified yourself as an attorney, so you're excused. Supervisor Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In reviewing the files, the two files that the board had, two reading files from the public on the extension of time, I didn't see anyone from the public that I saw in those rather voluminous files that stated that they really thought we should adhere to this time frame. So the majority, if not all, of the comments that I saw were to extend the comment period. Now, the two dates that I gleaned from the files are January 15th was a proposed date, or the general month of February 09 are two dates. So I think that we ought to at least consider Supervisor Colfax's 30-day concept. That's quite it's definitely a compromise between what the public is really asking for. And I did bring this up at our last board meeting a week ago, it'll be a week tomorrow, just so that the question would be out there, so staff could be looking at that. And I said I'm getting quite a bit of correspondence and communications stating that constituents would like the comment period extended. So I think we should at least consider Supervisor Colfax's 30-day period and call that a compromise. And I would certainly hope that staff would be able to adhere very closely to the given time frame that we have, concluding with the March date on the next steps for the board public hearing for March of 09. So, maybe instead of early March, it could be the later part of March. So I think we at least ought to go with Supervisor Colfax's idea of 30 days. Thank you.
Supervisor Delwer.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Glassy, how many times have we extended this or changed this timeline over the course of the last number of years?
I think I've lost count.
Yeah, me too.
Although, there's certainly staff timeframes, consultant timeframes, and there's public review timeframes, and they've all been handled differently at different times.
But our timeline has changed and has changed and has changed. And this process was supposed to have been done earlier this year, actually last year, then earlier this year, then by July of this year, and then by the fall of this year, and we're not closer, but we're not there. And I share Supervisor Pinch's concerns. I am hearing from folks who are saying, why is this taking so long? And that's the mantra that I keep hearing. Why is it taking so long? There are folks that are waiting and have projects waiting and plans waiting for this to conclude. I think since this thing has already been out 3.5 months by the time November 3rd rolls around, 3.5 month timeline to review the document. That's not the EIR, but the GPU itself.
Right.
That's quite a ways. That's quite a long time. Another 15 days, if it doesn't impact the overall timeline, it doesn't impact the cost, then I can go with that. I think that's what Supervisor Pinches was saying as well. But to go any longer than that, we need to find some conclusion to this planning process. It should have been done last year. should have been done before that, but for issues that whether or not get into now, it's taking us a long time. And we've got to find some finality to it. So as long as it doesn't impact the overall timeline, which I know you can't guarantee, but as close to it as you can, 2 weeks will allow that. Now give us an entire 4 months for somebody to review the general plan and make a comment. So to me, that's quite a long time. So I can go with another 2 weeks.
Okay, so can we go with consensus, or you want a motion on, sounds like we're on consensus of a time extension. What's the decision on length of time? I hear anywhere from 30 to 90 days, I guess, February, maybe even longer, from 2 weeks to there. Supervisor Pinchas.
Mr. Chairman, in order to move this along, I would make a motion that we extend the EIR deadline another 15 days from
Public comment.
public comment period, 15 days.
There's a motion and a second to extend the public comment period by 15 days. Discussion to the motion. Okay, hearing none.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this is giving direction to the board. I don't think it requires a vote. I think this is not agendized as an action item.
No, your agenda allows you to take
Yes.
action.
Under the timeframes on the agenda,